Welcome to Benita's maternity program antenatal class. Today we're speaking with Sister Talia about the sleeping patterns of a newborn. Welcome, Sister.
Hi everyone, welcome. Yes, so today we have quite a exciting and a frustrating topic because I know having a newborn, it's always one of the big questions mom calls me about is, will my baby sleep? How often will my baby sleep? Or I'm having trouble having my baby sleep at all. So today we will just be unpacking it a bit more. So basically, after my newborn is born, will I ever sleep again? This is quite a big question I get. And the answer is yes. However, I know in the beginning, when you bring your newborn home, you've already had lack of sleep in the hospital, post-delivery, post-cesarean, you had some medication as well in place. And then you come home and you feel already you're so in a minus with all the sleeping. And so I know it may seem like this lady has the answer, but we're going to unpack it and see how we can assist our newborn. But first, we must realize that babies do not have a sense of time. So they don't know if it's daytime or nighttime. They don't know whatever, tiredness is not in them yet. So they do know, however, that their little tummies are hungry. So they will wake up when they are hungry. They also wake up in certain conditions, too warm room, too cold room, a blanket that is too light on them, or the light itself that's too light, or also when an area is too loud, or sometimes there's just a lack of sound. So anything startles them then, and then they do wake up. We must remember that also their sleep is different to ours. So the duration is the first part that I'll cover. So a newborn needs 14 to 17 hours of sleep every single day. However, some infants may snooze up to 18 to 19 hours a day. It's a long time. It's like the day is 24 hours, so they sleep a lot. So some moms will also call me and say, my baby sleeps all the time. So every couple of hours, what do? We need to wake them up because they do need to feed, whether it's a breastfed baby or formula fed baby, because lack of not waking up can make their sugar drop. And now we think this baby is just sleeping all day long, but the baby sugar actually has been dropping from not eating at all. And their main source of eating is drinking their milk, whether it be formula or their breast milk. So basically, it's always 3 to 4 hours. In the beginning, breastfed babies can go 2 to 3 hours and want a bit more. So they actually guzzle just a little at a time. So they are more frequent feeders than the bottle baby that has a thicker consistency milk that fills them up for a bit longer. However, longer sleeping infants must be roused, okay? So that they must feed. How do I rouse my baby? I always tell moms, take a wet wipe. The coldness wakes them. They hate it. So I take a wet wipe, open the nappy, wipe them off, change the nappy, basically do a nappy change before feeding, and that wakes them right up. Ready to suck on the nipple, ready to drink their bottle, and then you also have a baby that now afterwards doesn't need to go through the whole changing pattern again. And then we also look at a good weight growth. So a good weight growth, which often occurs within the first few weeks, requires your infant waking every 3 to 4 hours. Following that, it's okay to let your infant sleep throughout the night for longer stretches of time. However, I must add, we call it also a growth spurt. So oftentimes at 3 weeks, 4 weeks, it goes to 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and it has different intervals. Some kids get it a week before the time that it's supposed to happen, others a week later. So there's not every baby will get it at 3 weeks, but you will start to see certain things in your baby. Baby will wake up more often. They will be fussy, crying, very, very clingy. They would needy. They want to be all the time, never laying alone. And that is usually a growth spurt. So what does it mean? It means that my baby is growing rapidly at that stage, brain development, sensory development. So their bodies needs to compensate for that by feeding more often. So this is a time for breastfeeding moms. We usually question it. So I will get a phone call and they will say, sister, I don't know, I don't think I have enough milk. Should I go and buy some formula? And when I question moms, they usually come out and they say, my baby's not sleeping. She does sleep, it's a few hours and she's awake and she wants to feed again. I don't think I have enough. And it usually comes to the conclusion that it's just a growth spurt, and it usually never lasts longer than 1 week. That's the good side of it. So this can go on 6 months, they get one again. So it doesn't stop at newborn stage. So whenever you're breastfeeding and you do notice your baby waking, often it doesn't mean your milk is weak. The one question we always get, is it a weak milk? Is it watery? Sister, do you think I must add more formula to the bottle that my baby's drinking? No, no matter if you just give them the extra feeds that they want, the extra cuddles. It may be a tough week, so take turns with your partner. If you can have somebody, a friend or a good support network with you guys in one house, and they can maybe take over one evening with the feeding and give you a bit of a sleep. It is tough, but it's always something that you get through. It's 1 week, but it feels like a very long 1 week of not sleeping completely. But at the end, at the end of that week, your baby has grown so much again. So what is the stages of sleep for a newborn? It's similar to ours. We have the things called REM sleep and sleep, kind of a baseline of sleep, where babies are a bit different. So sometimes in stage 1, they have the drowsiness, their eyes look droopy. They may open or close or doze off. Oftentimes they may open and close quite a lot and seem like they have uncomfortable wind going on, so they move around a bit. And then your baby goes into a stage 2, which is the light sleep. Baby moves and may arouse with a sound or a noise. So this is very important. It's a time when you're going to dim the lights a bit. If it's daytime, if it's nap time, you're going to close the curtains or the blinds, because you're going to create that sense of just calm in the area. And then we have stage 3, which is the deep sleep. The baby is quiet and does not move, but in deep sleep, it goes to a stage 4. It's very deep sleep. The baby is quiet, but as the baby is not moving in this one, he actually is in a deeper sense of sleep, and he may sleep for longer. Stage 3, he may arouse again, and then you follow the whole pattern again, and that's difficult because now he's overtired and fussy as well, because now he just wants to sleep. So oftentimes when you get to stage 2, it's very important to start dimming everything. The quietness and the white noise I'll follow through during this discussion, but definitely the closing off. I love an area, and even in hospitals, we as nurses, we've adapted the kind of the closing and the dimming a bit of lights. So in very busy hospitals, they've done some research, and during that busy time, doctors are in and out, patients go to surgery, coming back, everything is on. They found that the recuperation and recovery of some of the other patients, or even the patient that's been moved up and down all day to scans and to this specialist and coming back to their room, it's been a very bad recovery process. So now they've adapted the not just quietness, but the main thing is the darkness, because that actually helps your brain relax, it switches off, and that neurotransmitters starts re-energizing again. So it's so great for your baby's development, and it's a very good thing. Speaking as a mom myself, if we start from very young having quiet time, it actually later on lets them, when the day becomes too overwhelming, they've had a very bad day at creche, at school, they do then know as well, I can close a bit off, switch off everything, and that quiet time goes on, because that is when your mind is at its most peaceful, that is most tranquil, is when everything is a bit darker, especially late afternoon or even early morning naps when the sun is blazing down in a baby's room. It's very good to have block out curtains if you are able to, or even block out blinds, because there is moments when that really helps increase that level of deep sleep. So very important. What position should my baby be sleeping in? And you will see there I put safety, safety, safety. Why? Because the position determines a lot of things in terms of our baby's safety. And also we know there is a risk of SIDS, which is also cot death as we call it. So we need to have things in place. Firstly, no loose blankets. I've myself, I've come to my baby's crib and I found blankets here, and not just the first one. I think most of them it happens. So, and I mean, it's not always that you come in the nick of time. So, loose blankets has been found to be not the greatest thing. If it's a very thin receiving blanket that you're covering and you tuck under the arms for a newborn, it can work. But remember, they squirm and they move around as well. So for a newborn, even a receiving blanket can be quite heavy on them, and also their congestion if they have to breathe, say for the evening they are in the cot. So I always say to moms, I love this new it's a little like, it looks like a, a sleeping bag, but it has little holes cut out for the arms, and it's so great. It's actually been tested as well for SIDS. So they do a lot of research on SIDS these days, which is the cot death as we all know it all the years. And one of it was that blankets, remove those blankets, and that actually regulates the temperature. So when it's a bit colder, and I also had to struggle, how do I dress this in my baby? Because it looks like this big, long sleeping bag, and then the arms is now cut out. So in winter, a vest, a crawler, and then that, because that will regulate the temperature. So it also is there to keep them nice and warm, because oftentimes we find babies are very ice cold with no blankets on in the morning when you get there, because everything has gone off from them moving around. And then also, if it's summer, just a short sleeve vest, and then your little what do we call it? Your jumper, actually, that it's almost like a jumper that they have on, and that really helps a lot with the reduction of SIDS and also prevention of it. And then we're going to, and that will also help with the too hot, too cold story. So if babies are too warm, they cannot sleep. It's moist, it's humid, and then if it's too cold as well. So always try and find them in a neutral area. So I know a lot of moms co-sleep with babas, and I mean that is so great that you have your baby near you, but oftentimes in summer it can get too hot, where babies are uncomfortable because you also produce body heat, your partner does, and baby's now in the middle of all this heat. So I always say, in that time, try now maybe getting the cot out and just doing cot evenings, where in the daytime you can still have your cuddle with your baby or your co-sleep as well. And then good ventilation. So a room that has a window that you can open in the day so that fresh air can come in. So by evening, the room is well aired and it's ventilated, because its stuffiness is not good for a newborn or any baby, because they do struggle then to switch off. Height is very important. So by a cot, you have this two adjustable angles. You got the first part, that is when they are newborn, like we are discussing now, newborn baby sleep. That is so that moms can get to the cot. It's safe for their cesarean cut. They don't need to bend too far down to pick this baby up, because they can also hurt themselves. So it's more user-friendly to use. Change nappy, put baby in. Now, as the baby moves on, he's getting a few months old, he can move in his cot a bit, then we take that off and we adjust it to the lower angle. So usually I would say from year 2.5, 3 months, start moving lower. Your wound is a bit healed then. You don't need to, be as cautious with the bending and picking up, but also you want your baby to be safely in a place. Position firmly on the back with a firm surface, so a firm mattress. And we also then do a crib or bassinet. And this is every time baby sleeps, including naps. This is now very important, and I should have followed this, especially with the last one. Put the baby in his own cot or crib or bassinet whenever baby falls asleep. It's great to share a room and have them in there, but once you, every time with the nap time, going to place baby in your bed, that is going to become the norm. It's difficult to get them out. And by the time you realize, oh, it's been a few years, it's already a part of them to sleep there. So don't share a bed if it can be avoided. If it is more comfortable for mom and yourself, and that is something you choose, then you follow the route. But if you are planning on separate entities in baby, maybe sharing a room but own crib, then rather do this from the beginning and place baby in the crib after every feed, after every cuddle, so that baby knows, and after baby falls asleep, that is where I'm waking up. So this must be my bed. How do I cover my baby? So I mentioned that earlier, to use the sleep sack. That's what it's called, the little baby sleeping bag, I call it. And it actually regulates heat because it's cotton. It has ability to get cool in summer and very warm in winter to comfort baby. And it's also protective because what it does is baby feels in the womb he was tucked in, and that's also what swaddling does. So tucked and tight and cozy, and nothing just really, like, you could move around. You could sometimes, when you go to doctor's visits and they want to see baby scan, baby sleeping, and you've been so busy because they tight and they tucked in, and that's similar what this does. That's why we say it's the primitive reflex. So it makes them remember of when they were in the womb. So any sudden noise or movement, your baby may be startled and may extend his arms, which in turn can be difficult if you have a blanket on. So swaddling, by taking the arms and just covering baby around with the blanket, it actually tucks the arms in. It's similar to how they were laying in the womb, and it actually helps to calm them. It helps them feel protected and nourished, and baby doesn't feel like what's happening to me now. So it's dim lit. So not too much light, please. Cold or warm as well are the factors that influence sleep, but noise. So a lot of debate has gone on about noise. I believe in white noise. So if somebody is in the background talking, don't shush everybody, because that is unrealistic. You're never going to get to a place that it's always going to be quiet, and your child then will need that extreme quietness. So I do believe that recovery in any sick patient is better with darkness, a bit of intermediate closing of things, and just kind of dimming down the noise, but not to the extent where the noise is gone. You need a bit of white noise because your brain is an organ that doesn't switch off. It keeps on going, the neurotransmitters. So the neurotransmitters is sometimes like, even in night, at night, there's no quietness. We have crickets going on. So nature is telling us that there's still sound supposed to be happening for our brain to just go in that deep sleep. So it's very good white noise. There's so many apps available, moms. I'm not going to mention any apps here and endorse any apps, but there's so many apps available. If you go to Play Store, you can find so many apps, and it's a great thing to have because you put it on and your baby will associate sleeping with that, even in toddler years and later on in school going years. So it's something that can also be for them a routine and something to bring them some comfort and some structure as well for their evenings in switching off. So I hope that helped everybody a lot, and I hope this just keeps you motivated that this too shall pass. I know it feels like the sleepless nights never end, but take heed, it will pass, and enjoy your babies. Okay, enjoy every second, and take lots of pictures while they're sleeping, because you'll always remember that little cute sleeping baby. Enjoy.